Norton on the Paranormal State Radio Network.
That's right, Andrew. This is the Midnight Ocean Radio Show and Podcast. I am your host, Jeff Norton. You can join us here live every weeknight from 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or on the web at www.themidnightocean.com. I want to tell you we have a very special guest in the studio tonight. Yeah, it's not coming live. He's actually sitting here right next to me. And I'm sure we got a few questions for Mr. Matthew as he wreaks havoc along the coastline here. No, just joking. Actually, we had for those that know or don't know, we have been experiencing a hurricane here in Florida, and it just happened to be named after my nephew who is staying with us, staying out of harm's way, but he's here in the studio. And, you know, I got to tell you, it's our job to pass it on. And I remember being his age one day and going to visit my uncle in his studio, in his radio studio in Michigan. And it obviously impacted me in such a way that I got into the business. So, hey, say something to those people out there.
Hi.
Hi. So Matthew, how do you like it over here on this side of Florida?
It's nice over here.
Yeah. Sorry you couldn't get any swimming in because of the weather, man. But next time you want to, have a hurricane, it's all your fault. You know that, right? Well, it is you. He's bashful. We're going to put him on the spot. But, no, I just wanted to give him an opportunity to see how things go. He sees his uncle leave and walk into a room. He's probably wanting to know why he does that and everything. So, so you're going back home tomorrow, aren't you? Yeah? You don't know yet. Monday, you're going home on Monday. Yeah. So for those that don't know, obviously the hurricane, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit more in detail on the show, because I think we need to probably clear some air. I think there's some unjustified criticism that's going out there against the Weather Service, their governor of the great state of Florida, and also NOAA. CNN, you guys that listen to me enough know that I call it Clinton News Network stuff. I'm not a big fan of CNN, but I will tell you that I just want to clear the air and everything. So, well, thank you for joining us in the studio, man. Get some sleep. I'll see you in the morning. Maybe we'll get some swimming in. Maybe the weather will be better tomorrow. All right? Fist bump. All right. So there you go. There's my nephew, Matthew, joining us here in the studio for tonight's show. But, talking about, I just want to clear the air here. I've heard a lot of criticisms. I've seen a lot of things on Facebook where our governor has been criticized because, it was no big deal. No one lost their life. Thank God. I mean, we did lose. I think 3 lives we lost today. A Category 4 hurricane is no joke. Thank God it stayed off the coast. Thank God. But, we still had 3 people that lost their lives. Can you imagine what would happen? And this has always been my concern. We were here with Hermes hit us on this side of the coast a month ago. And my fear is it wasn't severe enough, because now you got these knuckleheads out there. The next hurricane that comes in, they're going to say, it was no big deal. We shouldn't have done what we did, blah, 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 blah. And then, that's the one that's going to slam the coast, and that's the one that's going to kill people. Seriously, kill people. I mean, we're already up to about 300 deaths from this hurricane. Just be grateful that it didn't come ashore, because if it would have came ashore, there would have been death. A lot more in property damage. And I will tell you, we're seeing a lot of the pictures that are coming out of the area from friends and family and, friends of friends and stuff. And I will tell you, there was definitely some destruction, and we're not going to know the extent of it until the family goes over there over the weekend. That's even if we can get across the bridge. They're telling us now that the bridges that go into Ormond Beach and stuff need to be inspected, which rightfully so. I'd rather have them, inspected. I don't know if you guys have ever been in the Daytona area or Ormond Beach area, but the bridges are huge. They're huge. So ships can go under them and everything. So they got to be inspected. I will tell you this. I did see a pretty disturbing picture of the Flagler Beach as you're going up. So you have Daytona, Ormond Beach, and then Flagler. But all the way up there, there's a road that runs. It's 1A. And that road is completely gone in a section. I mean, completely gone in a section. So even though it didn't make land, there was still significant damage. And I'm grateful that there wasn't more lives lost, more people that were hurt and everything. So, hats off to the governor for getting out there and telling people that this was a severe storm and they need to evacuate. And I know that there's a lot of criticism about NOAA and everything because, we tend to look, I've been known to bash them, especially over climate change, global warming, all of those things. But I'll tell you, it's hard science. And these guys, for whatever reason, these guys are out there to save lives. That's what they do. They could have just as easily, what do you want? A government who's just as easily not going to tell you this stuff? Who's not going to, warn its citizenry of what is going on? I'm grateful that NOAA's out there. I'm grateful that, our governor stood up there and said, leave, you will die. Because I actually do think instead of, we lost 3 lives already because of this storm. How many more do we need to lose before you guys take notice? So I think we would have been in dire state. And to be honest with you, there's really no reason to stay. What do you own? What do you truly own that's worth you possibly losing your life over? Or worse off, having one of your family members lose their life over it. There's nothing in the world that you own that's that precious. So, hats off. Thank you, Governor Scott. Thank you, NOAA, for doing a great job. We appreciate it. And, I'm telling you, I'm nervous now because as you guys know, you got Hermie, you got Nicole, and you got, Matthew up there in the Gulf turning, and they're going to come together as a superstorm. And now you're going to have these idiots that are going to sit there and go, oh, there's no big deal. Look, it didn't happen to us before. Huff, puff, blow your house down. I just hope you're not the one that's in it. So with that being said, that's enough of my rant on that for tonight. Tonight is open lines. We are going to possibly have Joseph Reyna is going to join us here in a little bit. But until then, we do have open lines. If you are interested in calling in, you can put the number up there, but with the Skype line is TMO listener. The phone number is 352-388-3900. That's 352-388-3900. If you want to send me a text message, you can do that at 786-574-3652. That's 786-574-3652. Love to hear from you guys, because it is all about you tonight on the Midnight Ocean radio show and podcast. So as we spin up, bring it up. So feel free to give us a call, and love to hear from you. Oh, I hope you guys got things planned over the weekend. I know I do. And actually, I got 2 interviews. I got to cram in. I got 2 4-hour interviews I got to cram in this weekend. And the reason being is that we're doing this is because we've got some really cool, we're putting together a really cool, I don't want to say anthology, but a series of shows that are going to come out as a collection. I will tell you, we're going to be talking about some secret military programs that have been going on in this country. And we're going to put these interviews out in a series. So they're going to be part of our show, but they're going to go back to back. So there's going to be 3 of them. And unfortunately, well, not fortunately, we got to work around people's schedule. One of the persons that we need to kick the show off, can only meet with us on the weekend because he's actually filming for another series that he's working on and stuff. So we got that going on this weekend. I will tell you too. Hey, over there at, EJ. Hey, EJ. I appreciate it. I was on his show today. Had a great time on EJ show. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah. I spoke for 2 hours. It's amazing. I've always said that when you Let me get this in here. I got to fix that. That's crazy. But when you have great guests, you have great shows. And in this case, we definitely had a great guest. I was on the show. Pat myself on the back for a little bit. But if you want to see that show, I'll get a link over to it. But yeah, I know that we recorded it. I don't know if it went live today, but I know that we did record it and everything. So I do appreciate. Yeah, Lori. Yes, Ormond Beach did. It did. Well, besides Jacksonville, I think Jacksonville, the problem is it raked right up the coast. It dipped in and then it raked right up the coast. But yeah, and that's our concern without giving away my family's location, but they literally are a block off the beach. So it is, it's going to be touch and go tomorrow as we head on in to see, or as they head on in to see, the damage and everything. So we just hope, we prayed. And yes, that is right. Possums. Yep. We did. We did a lot of praying and a lot of pushing, envisioning us pushing that hurricane off the coast. And I think it worked. I really do. The mass conscious is incredible. I remember one time when I was doing a coast to coast show, I was listening, not doing, but I was listening to a coast to coast show. And a hurricane was coming in the Gulf, and they had a mass conscience. That was when Art Bell was on. And, you had 8 million people listening that night, and they were pushing that hurricane off. And the hurricane actually changed directions. And it was weird. It was the darndest thing that we've ever seen. And, yeah, power suggestion is awesome. Awesome stuff. So, well, DP, I saw that you sent me a request. Why don't you give us a call back? I approved it. You shouldn't have to. Let me see here. Let me go into options here on the Skype line so you can do it. And let me go privacy. Anyone. Yeah. So anybody is allowed to give us a call. So if you feel free to give us a call, if you want to Skype in, you can Skype in at TMO listener, or you can give us a call at 352-388-3900. That's 352-388-3900. And of course, you can always send me a text message at 786-574-3652. But if you, also want to communicate with us, we do have the chat room running over in YouTube. So if you are in YouTube chat, you can go there as well. Facebook, I know, has the comments page as well. And what I'm going to do for the comments page, because it's so much to go back and forth, and I don't have a production team. I don't have a group of producers sitting in here doing this stuff. So what we will do is, if you want to put a chat in the Facebook comment section, I will reply to it on the air. I can't reply to it actually in the Facebook chat. I found that causes problems. But I will reply to you on the air. That's even better, isn't it? Yeah, I appreciate it. So, Tom, welcome. Lori, welcome. Pistol, welcome. Possums, welcome. 1990, Sunbird, welcome to the show. If you have anything for me, please feel free to give me a call or a shout. I'd love to hear from you guys. Like I said, it's open lines. This is all you. This is your opportunity to shine. Debbie, welcome there in Facebook. Welcome to the show. We appreciate it. We appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us, especially on this Friday evening. So, I'm trying to think. What else can we talk about? Come on, give me some topics, guys. It's open lines tonight. Give me a topic. Throw one up there in chat. I would love to talk to you about it. All right, guys. Needed to say goodnight to my nephew. It's late. Don't want to keep him up. He's got a busy schedule tomorrow. We got some swimming to do. We're going to be be swimming and everything. So feel free. Like I said, if you guys want baseball, you guys want to talk about baseball. Hey, look, you see Tim Tebow? Yeah, we'll talk about baseball. You see Tim Tebow in the minor leagues there? I don't even think he's in the minors. I don't even think he's in like the development league or something like that. First at bat, jacked it out of the park. Go Tim. That's about all I know about baseball. I'm not a sports fan. Sunbird, 1990. I'm not a big sports fan. Dogman. That is a good topic. Dogman, these sightings. And I do actually I will tell you, I have Jonathan Young is going to be joining us. I also have another individual who is a folklore expert. We haven't confirmed the date yet, so I don't want to announce who she is, but she is definitely all over the Dogman case. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. These cryptoids, my theory on these cryptoids is as this. I think these creatures, these cryptoids are here now. I believe in phase shift. I believe in, when you look at the light spectrum, what is considered light, the amount that we can actually physically see is such a small part of that spectrum. I'd say about 5%. So there are things out there that can fill in the other parts of the spectrum. Now, granted, we have devices that help us see those things. We do. We have devices that can help us see those things. But the thing is that they got to be in phase. And when I say phase, it's called frequency. It's got to be in the right phase as your vision. And so even though it's in the spectrum, if it's not in the right phase, you're not going to see it. And physics will tell you that if you take your fingers and you put them together like this, where you're pinching the blood, even though you feel that contact, there's an infinite amount of space between that. Even though you feel that there's no more space in your fingers, there's still an infinite amount of space in the molecules at the atomic structure between that. And so what we perceive as being solid or solid form, and that's the other thing too, it's all about perception. It's all about perception. Vision is not vision. What you see is your perception, is your mind's interpretation of what your eyes are sending it electrically as a signal. It's your interpretation. That's why, I say visual or during a crime, the witness testimony is the least trusted testimony because it's biased too. Forget about that. It's bias in one way or the other. So my theory on the dogmen and the crypto side is that they've always been here. These creatures have always been here. And the problem is we just can't see them. And they're smart enough. Maybe they see us and they move out of our way, because a lot of people are like, well, why don't we bump into them? Well, if they can sense us, I mean, my dog sees things and hears things that I can't see or perceive. And my dog doesn't run into things. But have you ever seen a pet kind of move out of the way of something where it's, you're like, what the heck was that? Yeah. It's not like we're living like fish in a barrel here. We're not. I mean, you got the universe is infinite. So there's plenty of room to navigate without bumping into them physically. And like I said, if you're not in the right phase and the atomic structure is not in the right phase, you'll just walk right through it anyways. That's science. That's not conjecture. That's science. There's an infinite amount of space between your closed fingers. So when you get up into the atmosphere, Debbie wants to know about these silent helicopters. That was pretty cool. Debbie, I had on the show, about a month ago, a gentleman, and I do want to talk about your silent helicopters because I was going to tell you, we did a show, and let me pull him up here in my list. Maybe, hopefully we can get to it before we go to break. But in the show, he actually talked about in the 70s about a silent helicopter that flew over him when they were traveling. And that was, this is in the 70s. So you can only imagine, Joe Richardson. So you can only imagine what is out there now. And I know you've seen it, take a picture, get your video camera, videotape. I think they're pretty routine in your area, and from what your postings say. So yeah, get a picture, send it to me. I'd love to see them. I'd love to see these helicopters. One of the gentlemen that we're going to be talking with tomorrow is he's a well-known author. Brad Olson writes the Esoteric series. And when Brad was on the show, a couple of weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, one of the things that we talked about was that we believe that almost 80 to 90% of the craft that you see out there floating in space that you think are UFOs are terrestrial in nature. These are super secret craft. I don't doubt it. Don't doubt it one bit. Here in Florida at the southern port down in Homestead, you have the Nighthawks. These are the guys. These are the guys, Possum, that are these are the guys that transport our special forces. So of course, I hope they have some pretty cool craft to get in and out of these combat zones. Talk about combat zones. Gosh, what do you guys think about Syria? As we're sitting around watching Kim Kardashian and her fake robbery, and I think it's fake. That's my opinion. You have Syria, where you have Russia basically preparing for a nuclear war. They have every right to be. I remember vaguely that when we went into the whole arms treaty with Russia, we said that we would never put weapons on the border, NATO. Again, we were done. And what do we do? What does this president do? For a president who received a Nobel Peace Prize, and I'm not trying to get political, this is just a fact. I find it funny. No, I find it sad, actually. For a president who got a Nobel Peace Prize for bringing peace to the earth, he's probably the president that we're going to go to war with. But like I said, as we're watching Kim Kardashian's, jewelry get stolen, as she's putting it out there, everyone to see, hey, come steal from me. Russia's preparing for war. A Possum, dog poem. Possum in the chat room says, there's a dog poem. Roses are red, or roses are gray. Violets are too. They smell great, and I love you. Oh, thank you, Possum. I love you too. So, yeah, I can imagine these helicopters. Anything that flies around that doesn't make noise, it would be concerning, to say the least. I mean, think about it. There's certain things that you expect. And when they don't happen or they don't align to your expectations, I can see them being visually, audibly, mentally challenging to you. We were talking about, that's the thing about the Mandela effect. I can't tell you how many headaches I've induced thinking about the Mandela effect. Yeah. The dog man is strange. It is a strange Very strange topic. What about these clowns? What do you guys think about these clowns that they're seeing? Did you not see the video of a clown in I don't know what urban city it was in? Thought he was going to be cute. Ended up meeting the backside of a baseball bat. But yeah, we'll talk about that. And the great Debbie, we're going to talk about in the beer room, because I think after the break, we're going to bring in our good friend Joseph Reyna. He's going to be joining us. Joseph Reyna, 5 Eagles. Hang in there. We'll be back.
This is the Midnight Ocean with Jeff Norton on the Paranormal State Radio Network. Midnight Ocean with Jeff Norton on the Paranormal State Radio Network.
right, Andrew. This is the Midnight Ocean Radio Show and Podcast. I am your host, Jeff Norton. You can join me live here every weeknight from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or on the web at www.themidnightocean.com. If you're new to the show, welcome. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that ever most important subscribe button. We'd appreciate it very much. And if you are watching us live on Facebook, we just started doing that this week. I can tell you, thank you very much. If you want to put something in the comment section, I can't reply to you in the comment section. I will see it on my screen, and I will reply to you directly over the air. How about that? Talk about service. Service with a smile. Nice smile for you. So, but we would appreciate it. And, get out there, share it with your friends. Now, tonight is kind of a strange night in the sense that we do not have a guest. We try to get a guest on the show every night. But this week has kind of been open because I'm just judging. I'm judging how much listener participation we can gather. And I see you guys over there in the chat. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. But the Skype lines are open. The phone lines are open as well. If you'd like to give us a call us on 352-388-3900. Love to hear from you. I love chat, guys. I really do. But I also like talking to human beings. It's so personal that way. And also on Skype. So feel free to give us a Skype call as well. So I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm popping. This is not candy. I don't know what I did today, but I tweaked my vocal cords. I've never done that. All the years that I've been in this business, I've never had issues with my vocal cords, but today I'm starting to see it. So, Possum, I don't know why that is, Possum. I can tell you that no one banned you. I'm just telling you. No one banned you in the YouTube chat. It's a problem with YouTube. We've been having problems with Facebook chat as well. I will tell you that. We've been having some issues with the chat. That's right. Every night never fails. Oh, that's the helicopters. I thought you guys were talking about Facebook. But I can tell you there was no banning or anything going on last night. I will tell you this for those guys that are new. We only have 2 rules in chat, and let me give those to you real quick. So you guys know what they are. Number 1, no personal attacks. You attack someone personally, you're gone. I'm going to throw you out of here so fast your head's going to spin. All right? Don't put up with it. Second thing is no response to personal attacks. No response. Trust me, I will see them, and I will see the attack, and I'll make sure. We'll talk about that possum here in a second. But if you attack, if you lob a volley back at the person that's attacking you, you're going to be gone too. Because we just got to put a stop to it because it perpetuates. Now it's like tit for tat, and we don't want that. So I will tell you flat out, those are our chat room policies. No personal attacks. I don't care what your differences are against each other. This is not the show to do it in. Right? This is definitely not the show to do it in. So with that being said, I will have to say, chat away. Have fun. Hello, welcome to the show. Just please say your first name and where are you calling from?
Debbie from Seattle.
Hi, Debbie from Seattle. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Very well. And is this our black helicopter, Debbie?
Yeah, it is.
I'm so glad you called, and thank you very much for participating in our show. I want to let you know, I see your posts on Facebook. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, make sure you put us down. There is about a 10-second delay, and it will mess you up.
I noticed that. I had to turn my iPad down.
Yeah.
It was getting all messed up.
Yeah, it does. It'll make you sound like a drunken sailor.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know these aren't alien. They're government something, but they're so like futuristic looking.
Yeah.
I mean, like alien looking. Like they're not built like anything I've ever seen.
Sure. So let's do this, because you and I have chatted about these, but we have a lot of people that don't know. Can you describe these? And you're in Seattle. Now, are you along the coast? Or are you in the mountains?
No, I'm in a town outside of Seattle, about 30 miles outside of Seattle.
Okay. And these vehicles, I mean, can you take your time. We got all the time in the world. Go ahead and describe them.
It's totally silent. I have seen them go straight up into the atmosphere, okay? Way up higher than an airplane. And they come back down and they circle back around and they do it continuously, back up and down and control all around. They're silent. They're totally black. All you can see is like, it's like, oh gosh, how do I explain this? It's like two forks in the front, and on the end of each fork is like a red light. And they got two like forks in the back. And the middle seems to be like thin. But then on top it's got like a green blinking light.
Now, do they have any kind of rotors on them or any kind of propellers?
No.
Wow.
No. It's like floating through the air. There's no sound. There's no.
And these things are what? So there's no there's no visible propulsion that you can see.
No,
okay.
I'm looking through binoculars.
Oh wow.
Yeah, through high-powered binoculars. But you can never see the body. It must be, like pitch black or something. They only come out at night, too.
Which I find kind of funny, the fact that they're all black, but yet they put lights on them.
I've seen them patrol. I told my brother this, and he stopped talking to me. He thinks I'm crazy, okay? But I've seen them patrol triangle UFOs straight over my town, completely silent. The UFO had no blink. They was all like traveling in total darkness.
Yeah.
But I was sitting on my deck, just happened to be smoking a cigarette and just seen it, and it just blew me away.
I mean, do you when these things come over, do you like feel like your hair standing up or anything like that?
For some reason, I get a sense to go out and look.
Wow.
Something tells me to go outside and look. And I looked in my binoculars up in the stars, and I could actually see spaceships. Stars don't jet propulse back and forth and up and down. You know what I mean?
Yep. No, I'm with you. I mean, we used to into our we were planning on, I've sailed enough in the Gulf and in the ocean, in the Atlantic, and also in the Pacific, that I know that when you're out there, I mean, if you have Gen 3 goggles on, you can see things flying around that are definitely not. And I was a pilot, so I had a pilot's, so I understand how aircraft fly.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I've seen things clearly that are not terrestrial in nature, flying around. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not drones. Do you think that possibly this could be some kind of drone?
No. This is huge. This is bigger than any normal helicopter. It's longer. It's height-wise. It's higher. No. This is no drone. It flies with like intelligence.
Wow.
Yeah, no. This is no drone.
Man, I would love to. I would. What do I have to do? Who do I have to send to you to get a picture of these things? Would you be willing, if I can arrange a photographer that has the right equipment, the right telephoto lenses, would you be willing to work with them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've tried that. The other night he flew over real close, but I didn't have a chance to get a pic of it.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just lightning fast. They're gone.
And you say that it's pretty constant, though. It's pretty much you.
It is every night. And I tell you what, on clear nights, this is no baloney. There is a bright orange orb constantly, and sometimes there's two.
Wow. Now, are you close to the coast?
No, I live in Auburn.
So you're okay. So you're in. Okay. So I want to try to get a geographic. Just trying to think. Mountain range. Is there mountains next to you?
No, I'm just right outside of. Oh gosh, let's see. Close to Puyallup in that area in the valley.
Is there? So you're in the valley. Is there a military base near you?
Probably so. I think there is. They're all over.
Yeah, they are out. Yeah, that's kind of a.
Yeah, I think there's like at least two close to me.
Yeah. Now we have someone in the chat room is saying, is it possibly a blimp? I'm just asking you these questions.
No.
Yeah, because I think from the flight characteristics, because blimps don't go higher than airplanes. I'm sorry. Well, and they don't move it like. They don't move at the speed, unless, of course, they're like a balloon, you pop them or whatever.
No, when they take off and go straight up into the stratosphere, that's not no blimp, it's not a balloon, it's not a helicopter.
Wow. And you said, but you've also seen triangle craft come over with that are silent.
I live on 29th Street. I'm telling you, it went straight over 29th Street.
Wow.
This was about a year and a half ago.
And these black things, you pretty much see them every night, because every night we're on the show, you talk
The helicopter thing, yeah, it's there every night. Night.
This is what I want to do. If you can send me in complete confidence, I will not share your information at all. Okay, you have my word on that. Send me an email at listeners.
Hold on.
Listener, I'm sorry, listener.
Let me write this down.
Yeah.
L-I-S.
Listener.themidnightocean@gmail.com. You'll actually see it if you go to because you're watching us on Facebook, so you'll see it right there, the email address.
Okay.
Shoot me.
Strange things happen too. I mean, I wake up with unknown scratches, broken fingernails. My jewelry is broken. It's just a lot of stuff. I mean, it's really creeping me out, to be honest with you. The Facebook deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I just think that's Facebook. I don't think it has anything to do with you.
No.
Well, they got me yesterday. I'll tell you. I mean, yesterday when I first started up the Facebook feed, they gave me 2 strikes for copyright infringement on music that I own.
Do you get constant updates from things from Facebook wanting a constant update?
No. I don't get updates on any. I mean, Facebook never messes.
They want to keep updating me. What for?
What do they want to update?
It's working just fine.
What do you have that needs to be updated?
But why? I mean, 40 times a month. That's not.
Yeah,
normal.
I think you got something else going on there, because Facebook is a web-based product, and it doesn't. There's no update. They update the web page. There should be no updates for you. Period.
I know. I think I'm being monitored.
Yeah.
They was messing with me really hard the other night, okay?
Yeah.
I had to go to Safari to listen to the program.
Yeah. Well, you can always go to, I mean, look, I know that, all right, we actually.
They blocked me from your site. They blocked me from Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, I know. I mean, I'll let you guys know, the listeners that are out there, and people that are in this business actually know that I was warned ahead of time when I said, well, I'm going to start doing Facebook feeds. They're like, yeah, okay. That won't last that long. And let me tell you why. They blocked me. I couldn't post to any group that I belong to, even though the groups that I belong to are like, hey, send us when your show's going to be on, who you're talking to. I couldn't post. I got blocked for 2 days because they said I violated their term of policy, but yet they wouldn't tell us what the term of policy was. And then they came back and said, like, yeah, last night they came back and said that I was in violation. The show just started, and the music that I play is music that I actually have contracted and paid for. I own the music. And they said I was in copyright, and they gave me two separate companies that filed a claim against me at the same time. Now, I don't know if it's Facebook's algorithm is messed up for that, or if Facebook allows you to like report, hey, look, this is a copyright violation. That I've seen that happen too, where people who don't want to get the message out or don't like the message that you're getting out there, they'll report you to Facebook. And then Facebook, they're so large, what they do is they'll ban you or whatever, and then you have to appeal it. But by that time, the damage is already done.
I don't think that's the case here.
Yeah.
It only goes up for like maybe an hour or two at a time, then they'll let me back on.
Well, but that could be also too their technology. I will tell you, the Facebook technology for video streaming is nowhere near what YouTube is. So the reliability factor, and they're not geared for a guy like me doing a 4 or 5 hour show. They're geared,
I see.
They're geared for someone doing like a 30-minute show, or they're not geared. They're not designed. Their infrastructure's not designed to handle guys like me. Yeah. So
that makes sense.
But like I said, you can always get us on YouTube.
Yeah, I do. I go there too. I got 3 different ways to get a hold of the show.
Well, the good news is that we're about done with midnightlistener.com, which is our new page that we're doing. We got the code. You'll actually be able to see the video off of that as well. We're gonna have that video, so you can just go there. It's gonna have the Facebook chat. It's gonna have the YouTube chat, all combined to one. Plus, it's gonna have the video. Plus, it's gonna have the audio.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Upgrade.
Yep. And it'll have forums. You can post things. You as a member, of course, you have to, in order to use it, you'll have to just, username, password kind of thing. So that way you can control. And then you can also share pictures. You can, it's all sorts of things. It's basically and I don't want to say Facebook-like page for the show, but it is. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's for our listeners.
That's good.
Yep. So that's going to be coming out in a couple more days. We're about done with it, and it is. You're gonna be very when you look at it. You're gonna be like, wow, it's going to look like a social media site, but for our listeners only. So,
yeah, good.
Yep. So, I will send me that information, your contact information, how I reach you. I will find you. I got a couple friends in the Seattle area who are pretty good with photography. These are guys that know what they're doing. And if you don't mind, I mean, they're not going to intrude on your property or whatever, but I'll send them out there and we will have them set up their cameras in your area. And when you see something, well, we'll get a picture. If it's if it will allow us to take a picture, who knows what kind of stealth technology is there, right?
I don't know. It seemed pretty funny because, the other night when I was talking to you, it was like 2 doors over, it was just right there, and it just seems weird. Like when I started talking about it, when it happened, it just like moved away really quick. I don't know. Maybe coincidence. I don't know.
Well, I mean, look, you got an exotic aircraft. Who's to say that they don't hear people?
Exactly.
I mean, that's the first thing. If I had an aircraft that could do what you're saying it does, I would have on there. I would have some kind of sensor on there to say, "Hey, look, are people calling 911 about me?"
Yeah, I've heard they have a technology like that already.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's not that hard. I mean, audio is not that hard to disseminate, and they're already plugged in. If it's government, they're definitely plugged into the 911 switchboards. We got in trouble. We got in trouble for broadcasting Swiss Air. We got a copyright strike because we broadcasted Swiss Air's UFO. We had a pilot that, with a recording of Swiss Air who reported a UFO in England as they were approaching, Heathrow, and Swiss Air came to us and gave us a copy, said, look, that belongs to us. You can't put that on YouTube. So we had to remove it. But to me, that adds the validity. of the recording, because we said it was Swissair, but you didn't know it was Swissair. So for them to get all freaky about it and file a copyright claim against us, they confirmed that is theirs. By filing the copyright, they have to acknowledge that is a recording that's theirs.
Right.
Now, if it was a fake recording, they can't claim a fake recording as theirs. So they claimed it as a real recording. So, thanks, Swissair.
Really.
Thank you for doing part of my job.
Yeah, really made it a little bit easier.
That's right. So, but no, I appreciate the call. Thanks for calling in. Finally, I get to meet you. Thank you very much. And we'll of course announce the Midnight Listener page, and look for it in the next couple of days. It's going to be out there. It's sharp. It's Facebook-like. You're going to like it. A lot of people are going to like it. And it's just for Midnight Listeners. And we don't censor. We're not going to censor
I'll
you.
send you my information, and we'll get some pictures of this thing, whatever it is. There he is again.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, so you see it now?
Every night. He's got a certain perimeter that he does. Every night.
You had to just tried using like Periscope or you have a smartphone, right? Just put it on video.
No, I don't have a smartphone because I don't want to be, I don't know, I got my reasons.
You don't want to be,
an iPad, but it doesn't zoom in that good, you know.
But can you see an object with your iPad? Can you see an object kind of like moving around in the video screen?
Yeah, but you can't tell if it's an airplane or, you know, from the distance that they're,
gotcha.
That's the perimeter that they're doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're looking at it through a set of binoculars.
Right.
That's how you're able to see it. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Like I said, send me that information.
Binoculars, really good ones.
Yeah.
I can see the moon really good with them.
Oh, a good pair of binoculars are must have. I tell everybody that. I mean, you got to have a good pair. If you don't have any Gen 3s.
Yeah, I can see the craters on the moon with them. Yeah. Really, I can.
Yep. So, all right. Well, we're coming up on a hard stop here, but I appreciate you calling in and send me that information, and I will make sure I will have someone or myself will get in touch with you personally, and we will get someone who has the equipment up there, and they'll camp out. You know, we'll take care of it for you. We'll fund it because I'm curious. You know, you got me going now. Because every night you're talking about them, so I know they're there.
Well, you know, I've lived right here for 4 years, and I've just been noticing for maybe, I don't know, last year and a half.
Yeah.
It's not something normal, and especially the way it looks. I mean.
Sure.
Yeah, so. All righty, I'll get in touch with you.
All right, thanks. Thanks for calling.
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah, bye now. Wow. Can you imagine going out in your front yard and looking up and seeing that? Or seeing silent triangles flying over your house? And I don't doubt it at all because there's too many credible people that I respect who have said Art Bell has seen it twice in his life. I can tell you, I've never seen a triangle. I've never seen the flying triangle. I've seen things, like I said, I reported when I was flying that was pretty crazy, but I never got a good look at it to tell you what it was. I saw an artifact of it. The other thing is that when we go up in the night, when we go out in the Gulf or you're out in the ocean, you see things. They're so far removed. It's like I said, you don't see them up close. You just see the remnants of them as they zip through the sky and do maneuvers that are next to impossible. Possum wants to know in the chat room, what are the Nightbot rules? I don't know. No cussing. No, there's keywords. You'll know because it will tell you. It will tell you that you violated a rule. Now I have the ability possums to look at the logs to tell you what you did. So I can kind of guide you there. As I cough through the night. It's going to be one of those nights, guys. I know that Joseph Reyna is listening. He told me, and I do appreciate him being very patient with us. But we're going to take a quick break. I promise that we will have Joseph on. You know, we'll talk about Nibiru, Planet X, and we'll talk about some of the other things that are going on out there in the world of the unknown. But tonight, you're listening to the Midnight Ocean radio show and a podcast. It's kind of like a free-form Friday, as they would say. You guys kind of pick the topic, and we'll discuss it. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with our very good friend, Joseph Reyna, 5 Eagles.
This is the Midnight Ocean with Jeff Norton on the Paranormal State Radio Network. is the Midnight Ocean with Jeff Norton on the Paranormal State Radio Network.
That is right, Andrew. This is the Midnight Ocean Radio Show and podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. Join us here every weeknight from 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or on the web at www.themidnightocean.com. Officially, we're on YouTube. If you're listening to us there, thank you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And if you're on Facebook, please make sure that you share our show with your fellow constituents. We'd appreciate it very much. Of course, you can always join us on Twitter. Follow us there at themnocean.com. The only chat room that we use during the show is the YouTube chat. I know that there's some people that are having some difficulties. I can tell you it is not anything that we are doing. It is not Nightbot, our moderator, because if Nightbot was blocking you, I would know. It sends me an alert to tell me why you're being blocked. So there's something going on there at YouTube. I don't know how to help you there. I really don't, because I don't own YouTube. Do I believe that there's blocking going on? Absolutely. You know, I've seen it firsthand. Do I know why? No, I don't. I really don't. But I don't want to. We have a very special guest on Skype, and I don't want to take up his time with that. I want to bring in our good friend Joseph Reyna, Five Eagles, joining us. Joseph, how are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm great. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you perfectly, man. Just like you're sitting in the studio.
I was having trouble with the phone. It had your show on and the call at the same time, and I couldn't disconnect them, so I had to turn it off.
That's weird. You know, we've been having all sorts of glitches this week. It's weird. I mean, like I said, Facebook has been saying that we playing copyrighted material that we own, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think once you get into the periscope of those that don't want us to be enlightened or know these esoteric topics that we talk about, I think that they throw these little bombs, these little curveballs at you. And that's why it's even more so important that we get our show out on as many different formats as possible. So if YouTube fails, you can go to Facebook. If Facebook fails, you can always go to Spreaker. And if Spreaker fails, you can always go to a Shoutcast or Icecast server. And if those fail, then we can kick you over to Europe, and you can get one of our CDN servers in Europe. So, I mean, that's how we have to do that these days. So, oh man. So I be honest with you, I have not had time to watch the video that you sent me the other day. I've been dealing with family, and frankly, I feel like I'm coming down with something. You guys are probably watching me pop these little, their halls. I haven't been sick in years. I don't know what I did, but I tweaked my voice, and so I do apologize, but we'll get through it. So what is on tap for this week, my friend? What's going on out there in the universe that we need to be aware of?
That pulse that's coming in, which I need to find out where this guy got the information or backtrack what he's doing. Apparently, Brooks Agnew knew about the pulse back in 2004. It's some sort of a magnetar pulse that shot past our or through our solar system, 2 distances away, not quite 2 AUs, but the distance from here to Mercury, twice that. And so it didn't hit us, but it ripped off a section of our atmosphere, and that started a lot of the what they call climate change to begin to become front page news.
So when is this pulse due to hit?
This month, October, and then again in December. I'm not sure how they're calculating that or what they're looking at. It's not the pulse I was talking about from the center of the galaxy. It's from a magnetar that fired through here. So they're expecting, I don't know, lose some satellites, I suppose. But we should be in a different location in the solar system. I mean, in the entire galaxy, we've moved millions of miles every 2 days. So we shouldn't be anywhere near where that thing fired the last time. I guess we should be okay. The other thing I sent you was on black goo.
Yep.
Very informative. Takes it to another level. That'll take you a while to go through.
Yeah.
But you were talking about things that go bump in the night. Oh, go ahead.
No. Like I said, to be honest with you, I have not. I got it, and I just have not had time to watch it. It's a 2-hour video, and I'll share that video with our audience. I'll put it on tonight's show post. So after the show, when you guys come back on Saturday or whatever, we'll put in the posting. I'll have that link to that video for our listeners too, so they can watch it on the black goo.
Yeah, that one's really disturbing. He goes into the 2 different types of black goo that's out there. It goes right back to the demonic, satanic stuff.
Yeah, what's disturbing is it's true. That's what's disturbing. I mean, this is not something that someone hypothetically put out there and say, well, this is what we think. No. There's black goo, and it does exactly what we said it does on the show. And that's disturbing. And now you're going to have me watch a 2-hour video that's going to go into more detail on it. And that is going to, that's something that I'll watch over.
What this guy's saying they're doing, he gets into everything. The chemtrails, he explains how if they break a DNA into 2 pieces, the strand with the little half instead of two segments, just one, they call that RNA. And they know that they can affect you with it or affect the other DNA with it and not alter the next generation. So they release these in the chemtrails, and they're specifically set up for certain frequencies. So they get all over you, then you ingest them, and they attach themselves to your DNA. But they're specifically targeting the bio photons. Your body is also a light body, and they've discovered this. This one Russian scientist took some photons, placed them in a small tube, and viewed them, and they were random, just scattered, kind of like the stars at night. And then he placed a piece of human DNA in there, and the photons aligned themselves in the shape of the helix. It was like a mirror image of the helix that was there.
Oh, wow.
Well, he then took a piece of DNA out, and it remained that way. And he shot it with, what's that real cold stuff, nitrogen?
Yes.
And it dispersed, and then it come back to the shape. And Wilcock, David Wilcock, describes, or he goes into great detail about, let's say you're sitting there for 4 hours. Okay, so they can come back with a piece of equipment, and your entire photon outline of your entire body, your entire genetic makeup is sitting there for 30 more days. I mean, an exact replica of you in a photon field. So the junk DNA apparently captures these photons and creates our unique, I guess, the way our soul attaches to our body, our unique signature. And he's saying that they can, once they attach enough of these things to your body, they rob the photons that the DNA collects, because the DNA collects photons. And up to about age 18, they're saying that you randomly, your body absorbs these, and then after age 18, you start losing them and not absorbing as many, and that causes you to age and come apart. Well, they basically rob these from you to feed their overlords or whatever they are. That's what part of the chemtrail is. He goes into the frequencies they use for it, the crystalline chemicals they're putting in there, how it mixes with the acid rain, they basically try and wear away your nervous system and rebuild it with their crystalline systems, and that way you're more susceptible to their frequency inputs and stuff. But this guy gave a real interesting thing towards the end. He keeps talking about the blue energy and the red energy, and at first I wasn't sure what he's talking about. Apparently your thoughts have color. Anything to do with the mind and thought is blue. Anything to do with sexual energy is red. So they control those two, the ego and the mind. And he said if you just stay in the heart, which is more green energy, they don't affect you. And that's what we've been hearing a lot about lately, when you make a decision, make it with your heart. Because that's a direct connection to Creator. And I've never been wrong with a heart decision, ever. So anyway, that's I'm putting that out as a word of caution to individuals who want to see this. You can't unremember what's in that video. So unless you really want to get down that rabbit hole, I suggest you
Yeah.
They use something with not so much information in it. This guy's a German scientist. But the things you were talking about, the hurricane, I was in Hurricane Josephine on a ship. We were doing research in the Gulf, and they got greedy and decided they were going to take another pass with their hydrophones. And by the time we got up, we should have been in port. And these guys, we were out in the middle of the storm trying to pull in these lines that are 5 miles long each. So they were all tangled up. And we couldn't go into port. And the best way I can describe it is that ride at UCM in Carnivals is a giant pirate ship looking thing.
Yeah.
The swing goes back and forth. And at first it's kind of fun, and then you start getting a little nauseous after about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, imagine being on that. It's exactly the way it feels because of the way that you go over one wave, then down, and then up another wave. And you're going about, we were doing about 60 feet in height because of the drop in the wave and then the crest of the wave. So this swing is going 6 stories each way. And you're on it for 3 days. It doesn't stop. You have to sleep on it. You have to eat on it. You do not get off the ride. And there were some very ill people on that ship. Luckily, I had brought extra cache of seasick pills.
Yeah.
But it was interesting.
Yeah.
To be out there that long.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not funny. I mean, I tell people, on sailboats tend, because the hull design, they'll rock back and forth, and you'll get sick on a sailboat very quickly. And, the secret, though, is to stay busy. I can't imagine, though, being in the Gulf is to stay busy. I can't imagine, though. Hold on for a sec. Yeah. We got a refeed that's going on here. This is the thing that's happening for those that don't know. We are Facebook. We're simulcasting to YouTube, and we're also simulcasting to Facebook at the same time. And every time we get into a topic that is esoteric in nature, Facebook is every time we get into turn this off. Facebook is deleting our videos. Now, I can get up there and talk about Britney Spears and whatever, and my video will stay. But when we start talking about esoteric stuff, I get these little alerts from Facebook saying, your video has been deleted. And that's exactly what happened. So I just fired back up the video stream, which is crazy. I just wish they would come back and say, look, we don't want these types of videos on there. And I'll comply.
I wanted to ask you, when we were talking about a hurricane, was that the one that was coming directly into Jacksonville, Florida, and just stopped and stayed there for 24 hours? I was there. I was near Jacksonville. I was going to pick up a vehicle for my brother who was in the Navy. He'd gone overseas on the John F. Kennedy, and he'd left his car in a parking lot at a mall, which would not have survived the hurricane.
Yeah.
Anyway, we sort of get dumped by the bus, me and my mother, in this little town without any, there's nowhere to go. And I just thought that was where they did that. And luckily I remembered, go to the, what's it called, United Way or whatever, and we found a place that had a shelter, and we stayed there. But the hurricane was coming directly at us, and it just stopped off the coast, stayed there for 24 hours. Then it moved up 2 states and came in. Well,
the hurricane. And we actually just had a hurricane that is in Jacksonville right now.
No, I know that. But when I was there the last time, it stayed just off the shore. It did not come onto land.
Yeah, the same. I got you. I was just like, yeah, you're in Jacksonville now. Yeah, because
right. It was coming directly west, and it just stopped. It just completely stopped. Didn't move for 24 hours. Then it moved north, and then it came into the Carolinas. And I remember I was sort of using my prayer abilities to make sure it didn't hit us, because we weren't going to be riding that car back if it did.
Yeah. No, it was.
When you're out in the ocean.
Yeah.
I was noticing how you use your show, kind of like being out in the ocean and covering things out there. And when I was in the sea, have you ever been out to sea for a long time? They speak of these dreams you start having. They never tell you what they're about.
Well, I mean, I've been out there. I mean, I will find that, yes, I'll have some crazy dreams while I'm shipping. But I think I attribute that to the fact that I'm working. I mean, because we're usually on sailboats, and so you're doing a lot of work. And The other thing too is I also think you kind of get outside of the mind control that goes on, all the electronic, all the electronic crap that's hovering around your head when you're on land. I think your mind frees up, and so I've had some pretty crazy dreams while I've been out on the water, without a doubt.
When I was out there, I stopped eating meat for a while, and just it kind of ungrounds you, sort of, and you sort of get like a balloon without a string tied to anything.
Yep.
And I started seeing the walls. You know how you're saying sight is a perception? Well, everything's upside down. Our brain has to fix it. And the walls had like a wavy water-like shimmer movement to them. Everything did. And it almost felt as if I could touch it or push my hand through it. I could walk through the wall.
Yeah.
And the only thing that prevented me was that we were in 10,000 feet of water. And I didn't want to end up in the water. So, but that was really interesting. I was far from land, so ungrounded, and then not eating meat and meditating. So that kind of brought it. But the dreams were interesting because they were like alternate realities, things that would have happened in my life if I had made different decisions. And your whole life, you pretty much just live it as if it were real.
That is,
those were fascinating.
That is exactly the dreams that I had. These were life dreams, but they were like different. Like, I was a businessman, or I was a lawyer, or I was it was weird. And to be honest with you, I think that there are multiple yous, out there. And I think what happens is when you're on Earth, that like all electricity, phase shifting, and all that, you're grounded, as you would say, and so you don't have those opportunities. But when you get out of the ocean, you're part of the current. And I'm saying the electrical. You're actually electric on the ocean because you're part of the circuit. To say, and it's amazing. Talk about the circuit. That's a good segue. I tell people, hey, if you guys want to get behind a really great program, a really great movie idea, get out there on the midnightocean.com website. You'll see a banner for the circuit. Hit that banner, take a look, and if you donate, make sure you include your shirt size and the fact that you heard about the circuit through the Midnight Ocean, and I'll send you a shirt and a coffee mug and stuff. So that was, going back to the circuit. I've experienced that. I've experienced the altered state, the altered reality dreams. I've also experienced dreams where I'm like in Atlantis, and sailing dreams, ocean dreams, which are crazy. And they're so vivid. They are so vivid. So.
Yeah, they're so real.
Yep.
Oh, and you were talking about these little, what are they called? Crypto. Our parents and grandparents would always warn us about these little things called duendes. And, better behave, or, these duendes are going to show up. And so we were always concerned about what they look like. Because they said if the dog's ever scared, terrified, leg between his legs, there are duendes around. And I got on YouTube long ago, and I go, wow, I wonder if there's anything on duendes here. So I spelled the word as best I could, Spanish word. And sure enough, there were videos about duendes. And when I started seeing these little things moving across the screen, people were just playing hockey, these little kick bags or whatever. I forget what they're called. They kick the little beanbag with their shoes and their feet.
Oh, hacky sacks.
They're playing, and then this
hacky sacks.
Yeah, hacky sacks. And there's like this little pile. Looks like a pile of clothing just thrown in by the wall, and it stands up and starts walking. And they see it, and they jump out of their skin. It's a leprechaun. It's got the little hat, the buckle, the shoes, the shorts, little feeder hose, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
And when I found that out, I asked my mom. I said, Mom, duendes, are they leprechauns? She goes, yeah. So why didn't you just say that?
Yeah.
But she's seen them. And I remember when I was in the Marines, I swear half the people in there were told by the judge they needed to go see the recruiter in the back or go to prison, because most of these guys had all kinds of stories to share with me. But some of them had gotten on these drugs, and they were all seeing leprechauns. Apparently peyote, you get too much peyote, you'll see these leprechauns. So I wonder if that's something, a filter that lifts it. They're already there, but you see them. Anyway, yeah.
Well, the whole thing with absinthe, they tell you that you drink enough absinthe, you'll see little green fairies. I've never experienced
heard of that one.
I've never, yeah, well, that's why if you look at real absinthe, which is made with wormwood, the real stuff, the absinthe, most of it, I think you can get it in the United States now. It used to be illegal, but the absinthe that's made with wormwood, if you drink it, it will, enough of it, you'll see little green fairies. I've tried. I've never saw green fairies. I've been sicker than a dog after it, but I've never seen the green fairies.
Do you know why they call Nibiru wormwood, or that star, why it's called wormwood?
No, why?
The Chinese called it that, so did the ancient Hebrews. Apparently, it's the first plant to grow back along the rivers after everything pretty much dies from all the phosphorus that falls on everything and the destruction that was happening at that time. But wormwood was one of the first things that came back. Hal Lindsey thought that it was because wormwood made the water bitter, which radiation does. Mm-hmm. He kind of linked the two with Chernobyl, which apparently means wormwood, interestingly enough.
Which is weird.
But anyway, that's why they called it that.
Wow. See, you teach us so much, Five Eagles. You really do. It was funny. I actually spoke with someone after the show, and they're like, "Is this guy is this all he does?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, he's got a real job." I know what you do for a living, and I'm like, "No, this is a smart guy." And yeah, there's a lot of smart people out there that don't have college degrees, right, or degrees in what they're doing. And but yeah.
Yeah. I have a degree in electrical engineering. I remember asking my teacher questions, and they would just look at me like, "That's not in my book. I can't tell you about it."
Yeah.
So
I mean, let's.
When you were talking about,
go ahead.
One more thing I want to cover on the cryptozoology thing. Mm-hmm. We hear these stories a lot from our uncles. Things that would happen, especially back when there was very little electricity, televisions, that sort of thing. People would go to what they called the bailes, the dances at small towns on Saturday nights.
Yep.
Then on the way home, weird things would start happening. And this one, I've heard it from so many people. They'd hear something jump on the back of their horse and up against them. And it would put its arms around your midsection. If you look down, they'd be big, black, hairy arms with claws on it, and you'd feel the breathing on the back of your neck. And then if you looked off the side of the horse, these long legs with 3 large toes would almost be dragging on the ground. A friend of mine asked, "You mean they had time to count the toes?" Because he would have been running. But this thing appeared when I was in high school in this area in southern Texas. Yeah. Just killed hundreds and hundreds of chickens within hours, and there was a lot of destruction. And there was these 3 large toes, almost like a large dinosaur would make. Not, huge, but maybe 12 feet tall or so. And anyway, that got me a little concerned. But so many people reported seeing these things and hearing about them. Yeah. That's one of the things out here in southern Texas.
We hear about them in Puerto Rico. I mean, is it the same as a chupacabra?
No, chupacabras are small.
They're smaller. That's what I thought. They were smaller.
About 3 feet high.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, do you think these things are dogmen?
No one ever saw one.
Okay.
Face. But the dogmen thing, they very closely resemble the modern, what we see as a Hollywood werewolf. Mm-hmm. And people who have thought they've seen these things, and they come back with dogs and guns. I think we mentioned this a while back. The dogs stop. They don't want to go. They turn around. They're trying to break the leash and get free. And then the people who decide they are going to go without the dogs, all of a sudden they just stop. They have a horrible, dreadful sensation that they're about to die. So they decide not to go after the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I do not want to go chasing. I don't care what kind of gun I have. I'm not going to go chasing off into the woods after a supposed, werewolf. I've watched enough movies to know that never ends well for anybody. Except the werewolf.
One of the most interesting stories I heard about one of these creatures was one of these guys who worked for the state and had to go pick up the dead animals, and he would go and give it to some farmer or whatever. But he threw a deer in the back, and he felt the truck move, and he looked in the back and mirror, and he saw this big hairy thing grab the deer and take off running.
No way! I want to hear about this a little bit more, but we got to take a break, my friend. And when we get back, though, I want to hear about he took the deer off and went running into the woods. Everything. That, I'd be looking for a new job. Right, absolutely. We're with our good friend Joseph Arena, 5 Eagles. And we've got so many stories to tell us. But we'll be back in a few minutes. I hope you guys are bundled up, as I'm sure it's going to get a little dicey in the cruise tonight.
This is the Midnight Ocean with Jeff Norton on the Paranormal State Radio Network. Midnight Ocean with Jeff Norton on the Paranormal State Radio Network.
Dogmen jumping in the back of the truck, stealing carcasses. That's what we're talking about here at the Midnight Ocean Radio Show and podcast. So you can join us live every weeknight from 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or on the web at www.themidnightocean.com. If you're joining us for the very first time on YouTube, thank you. Thank you very much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. If you are watching us on Facebook Live, all I can tell you is that, yes, I had to reset. It was one of those things where, for some strange reason, Facebook shot me a message, said your video has been deleted. And sure enough, it was. So we had to reboot it. And I think it's up there running. But, of course, share while you can. Now, you always have an option. If we ever lose the YouTube or the Facebook, you can always go over to YouTube. Just type in the Midnight Ocean there, and that will get you over to us. But before we went over our break, we were on the phone with our good friend, Joseph Reyna, and Five Eagles. I'm just going to say Five Eagles from now on. I'm not even going to say Joe. I'm just going to say Five Eagles. So you had a friend who was picking up the carcasses of deer and, road work. And he said something jumped. Now obviously the deer was dead. All right. Because you're not going to pick up a half alive deer and throw it in the back of the truck. Number one, the deer was dead, right? We do know that for a fact. Or did the deer jump out?
No, this was actually on television. It was one of those shows that goes over mysteries and stuff. And the guy, he'd been doing this for years.
Yeah.
And he put the deer, it was getting dark. He put the deer in the back. He struggled to get it in there, closed up the door, got in, sat down, then the entire vehicle moved to one side. And something really heavy and big got on top.
Yeah.
He looked in the mirror and he saw the outline of this black, it looked like a werewolf to him, just huge, Arnold Schwarzenegger type body, and it just threw the deer over his shoulder, jumped off, and took off running like it was nothing. And he didn't know what to do. He wanted to get the heck out of there, but at the same time, he couldn't believe what he'd seen. And anyway, apparently, he picked up the deer. He was sweaty from that, he said, and so it was there. He got it on the truck. He knew he got it on the truck. The thing was incredibly heavy. And then the truck moved, so he knew something moved it, that it could not have been a regular person who just grabbed that and did that. Or why would a person do it? Anyway, no, it was an actual worker for the state who saw that.
So did he take off? I take it he took off. He didn't sit around and get his flashlight out there and kind of look for tracks or anything? Yeah.
No.
Wow.
But I've had, I've been in houses, all the knocking sounds and the banging on the wall and the door just rattling. It's been a while since I've seen some of that stuff. The other night I was watching stuff on YouTube about haunted dolls or dolls that, I don't know, that possessed or whatever.
Yeah.
They have several videos, very good ones on YouTube. And while this is going on, I'm hearing all kinds of noises in the room. And I was trying to just ignore them. That there was nothing there that should be making those noises.
Yeah. So Five Eagles, you have dolls in your room?
No. My mom used to have some.
I'm messing with you, man.
I've come across so many people that some of the hauntings, I would just talk to people about it because I've been around it, and they would always have a situation where some type of doll was haunted. There's one, Elmo. They took the batteries out of it. The thing's still turning its head and talking, and they got out of the house. They would not go back in the house.
We always,
like I said,
I never had a doll that was haunted or anything. And by the way, when I was younger, I played with Barbie dolls, so I'm not one to be making fun of anybody. But I had my Julia doll, which is a Barbie doll. When I was a little kid, my parents told me about it. I don't remember it, but they told me I played with this Julia doll, which is a Barbie doll. But we had this chair, this rocking chair, that I believe my parents picked up in Japan. That thing used to scare the crap out of me when I was younger. I didn't like it, especially when it was in my bedroom, and I think it moved one too many times on its own, and that kind of freaked me out. So, well, it looks like we have lost our good friend 5 Eagles. Are you there? 5 Eagles?
Lost you there.
Yeah.
Couldn't get back on.
Went for a few seconds. No, right before we were rudely disconnected by the powers that don't want us to communicate with each other, whatever those powers may be. I don't know if they're terrestrial or extraterrestrial. I was saying that we had this rocking chair that that used to just freak me out. And I think everybody has an object. I mean, here's one for you that will really blow your mind. I have a crucifix that was given to me. It was on my grandmother's casket, and it was her crucifix. Now, I don't think I don't believe, and I don't think the crucifix is haunted or possessed in any way, but I'm not going to hang it up. And a lot of people are like, why? Because I think that it will be used as the message for the demons and the dark spirits to say, hey, Jeff, we're here now. They'll use that as kind of like the signal me to say, hey, here we are. We showed up. You've done way too many shows on this, and now we're here, and now we're going to mess with you. So,
well, when I was couldn't have been more than about 5 or 6. We were in this house that had a tin roof, and something ran from one side of the house to the other. It was just straight home, slanted roof, and it was heavy. It was big. It was bipedal, two legs. And it just went boom, 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 boom from one side of the house to the other, and just came off started on one side of the house and then on the other. My mom immediately ran out of the house. It's dark outside. We didn't want to go out in the dark, but we were not about to stay in that house. We all ran out after her. And the neighbors came out running as well. Whatever it was, jumped from our house, ran across their roof, and there was a very large tree in the way. It would have been a jump of about 45, 50 feet.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then you never hear it again, but
you're
just not expecting it.
Yeah, I mean, you're sitting there, popcorn, whatever you're doing, and all of a sudden you hear something running across. That's insane, man. That would freak me out.
I was drawing a picture here of the house so I wouldn't forget about it, and it reminded me of something called Eaters of the Dead. It's a book that was published. Well, apparently the writings were found in a monastery, and it was originally written by an Arab in the year 922, and it is the oldest account known of Beowulf. It was called Eaters of the Dead, and this guy he upset a sultan for some reason, so he was sort of sent away as an emissary to speak to the northern men, who were the Vikings. Mm-hmm. And it's now known that the Vikings did trade with these individuals. Well, when he gets out there, they end up having a problem somewhere, and they need these warriors to go up there. So this lady casts these bones, and she's calling for volunteers. There'll be 13, but the 13th cannot be one of their Northmen. So he gets volunteered to go. He doesn't speak the language. They speak Latin. He speaks a little bit of Latin. One of the guys speaks a little bit of Latin, and they end up going north. And he describes Beowulf, all the individuals, and what they came up against. They wouldn't call them by any names. The Wendell. It wasn't a guy. It was something called the Wendell, but they didn't even want to pronounce the name. And it came in the fog. And when they got to this king's area, he had a huge. Everything was beautiful. It looked like something out of Lord of the Rings. And they said this is why they think the Wendell came, because apparently all of the Viking settlements that far north were built into a square shape, and it was long, barracks-like buildings. They had one entrance, and it was low to the ground, almost underground. You'd have to get on your knees and crawl through there to come in so they could lop off your head. There were only 4 entrances. They were built like fortresses, and that was the only way in and the only way out. You can never figure out why. It's because of these Wendell things. Anyway, what he finally finds out is that he describes them as Neanderthals when he finally gets to see one close. They're big, they're hairy, they don't really need weapons, they just rip your armor off and beat you to death with it. And he just describes them exactly like Neanderthals. Mm-hmm. And they rode horses as well. And I've heard other accounts that Caesar, one of the the guys who trained the horses for Caesar, he was one of these individuals that spoke with horses and lived in the mountains, and he sent his commanders to learn from him. And Caesar had a horse that had two toes like an ostrich's feet in the front, and he liked it because it climbed rocks very well. Anyway, they made a movie called The 13th Warrior with Antonio Banderas, based on that movie. But that's what it was called, Eaters of the Dead. And these Eaters of the Dead had these little amulets. They were the pregnant, heavy-breasted shape of a female, and apparently that was it was a female, and she was constantly pregnant, basically putting out these babies, just kind of like an ant colony thing. That's what they had to destroy. The book is really, really fascinating, and right away they tried to say it was some sort of forgery or something somebody made up. But in the year 922, this guy went through all these, and I've heard other accounts of these Neanderthals existing way past those times. Alexander the Great encountered some. Same thing. He said they just ripped their arm off and beat you to death with it.
I don't doubt that. I mean, they've already proven that there were several. You know, you had the Neanderthal man and you had the monolithic man. I mean, you had different stages, and they ran evolution at different time. I mean, at the same time, but they ran their separate evolution track. So who's to say that? Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. I mean, well, my last name, actually, when you look at it in northern, basically meant giant. So the Northmen, when they come out of the north, they used to call them the Northmen. So the name Norton.
Well, the trolls also, the red hair, the green eyes, blue eyes are the trolls.
Yeah. So, yeah. So it's who am I to doubt it? Who am I to doubt it at all? So, but wow. So Joseph, I hate to do this, but I am starting to feel. I've got two very important interviews I have to do tomorrow, and for some strange reason, on my throat, I don't know what I did to my throat today, but I tweaked the crap out of it, and to preserve my voice, I'm gonna have to call tonight's broadcast kind of short, and I do apologize.
No problem. I was gonna be letting you go so you could have somebody else talk. I'm sure they got fascinating things to cover.
Yeah.
There's a cough drop that's called the Fisherman's Friend. It used to be sold only in candy section because it's a natural type of remedy, but now they do sell it at Walgreens and at CVS. It's in the cough section. It's in a little white box, and it tastes like licorice. What I like about it is you can sleep with one in your cheek, like on the side, and it'll remain there. You won't swallow it. It's not going to get stuck on anything. It's kind of a licorice type candy, but it's not sticky, and it'll just coat your throat. I think what happened is something might have got blown in on, I don't know if you're allergic to any ragweed or anything like that, but I'm sure the hurricane would have been blowing a lot of that around.
No, I think what it was, to be honest with you, I don't know. I did a 2-hour-long interview today, which is normal for me. But I don't know. I had some, I'm hoping, well, without getting too technical, but I had some acid reflux issues today. And I'm wondering if I might have gotten some acid, something I ate upset me.
That'll burn you.
And that burned me. And so now I'm like, and I don't want to, like I said, I got 2 important interviews to do tomorrow, and I can feel it, you can feel it coming, and I'm trying to speak to the front of my mouth and not use my throat at all, but I think I'm putting way too much strain trying not to do that. So,
see if you can get to a Walgreens or something. Those things are, I swear by them. The guy who told me about them was one of my professors. He had a cough for 2 years. It would not go away. And back when they came out with a reciprocating cough thing, where you just could not stop coughing, these stopped him from coughing. He'd been coughing for 2 years straight. Wow. Had not been able to stop. There was nothing they could give him, and few of these little pellets, and he's fine for the rest of his life.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's called Fisherman's Friend.
Fisherman's Friend. I'll definitely write that down because I got to do so. I've been drinking tea tonight, and with some different spices in it to help, and it's starting to come in like a vengeance. I can feel it. It's starting to burn. So.
Okay.
But man, Joseph, I appreciate you joining us on the show tonight, and man, keep sending those great videos to us. I thoroughly appreciate them. And next week is going to be interesting. We're going to have Dr. Ram on the show. We're going to have some interesting, some cool cats going to be joining us next week as we kick off another week of great guests on the Midnight Ocean. So, yep.
When you get Ali Marzulli,
we have
ask him?
Yeah, he's coming on. He's going to be. Yep, right. He confirmed. Let me go ahead and just bring up the calendar here. He is going to be on the 18th. So we got Dr. Richard Ram, Dr. Richard Allen Miller is going to be on Monday. We got Douglas Wellman's going to be on Tuesday. Brendan Guran is going to be on Wednesday. Marshall Masters is going to be on Thursday, and Leslie McQuirk is going to be on Friday next week. So we have them lined up, and then the following week we got L.A. Mazzulli. I've got about 8 other people that I got to fill in. So next week we're already filled in as well. We got Kathleen Mordine, and we are actually trying now. Kathleen wrote the book with Stan Friedman. And we're going to probably get Stan Friedman on the following week. So that's going to be a really great show as well. And so we're looking forward to it. Yeah, we've got just a outstanding set of guests. Tomorrow, I'm meeting with Brad Olson, and I have another interview with another gentleman that I'm not going to release his name just yet because we want to get the interview done. We're going to try to get it done. Brad is confirmed, and then the other gentleman is right after Brad. Literally, I'm going to do Brad, and then boom, I'm just going to reset the deck, start over, and do the other one. This guy here, for you conspiracy theorists, this guy here is in it. I mean, he is. You'll know who he is, and when you, and I don't want to announce it because it's not in the bag yet. I know Brad's going to be in the bag because we talk all the time, but this gentleman, it's been hard to get him to nail him down. And he's going to give us 2 hours tomorrow afternoon. And this is going to be, if you're into conspiracy theory, this is going to be a good show that we're putting together for tomorrow. But yeah, I can feel my throat I can feel my voice letting go. And so I need to. That's if I want to be worth anything tomorrow, I definitely need to take care of it. So. But I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. And like I said, keep the great information going. Oh, by the way, thank you for the book, Incredulous. I got it. And I will tell you that Sandy sucked it up the minute it came in. So she's like, I'm reading this one. And so I'm like, okay. And so it was sucked up the minute she opened it up. So I do appreciate it. And it's sitting over here on her desk, and so there was some about the book that because she's never really grabbed any of the author books when they come in, but yours, she's like, I'm reading this one, and she put it right on her desk. She's like, don't touch it. so I appreciate it. Take care of yourself, man. Have a great weekend, and be safe.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks for inviting me.
Oh no, thank you for joining us. Take care. So that was our good friend, Five Eagles, joining us on the Skype line. As you guys know, it's funny because a lot of you guys out there are like, yeah, he's becoming your Linda Moulton Howe. No, he's better than Linda Moulton Howe. I'm sorry. He doesn't come with a tape recorder. He actually speaks from knowledge. He doesn't have to hit. And I'm not saying Linda doesn't speak from knowledge, but it's that whole tape recorder thing that drives me nuts with her. She'll set it up and then she'll play the tape. And it's like she puts the microphone right next to the tape. You guys know what I'm talking about. Every one of us had them when we were younger, the black tape recorder, and stuff. So that's about it. Well, I want to tell you guys, thank you for joining. And I do apologize for cutting it short tonight. But like I said, tonight's one of those freeform nights anyways. I am feeling my throat give way. And if you're in this business and stuff, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not in this business, trust me, when you do this, it's kind of like an athlete that tweaks a hamstring. You know it's coming. You feel the pop, and that's what's going on in my throat right now. So I need to shut up. I need to get my rest. I need to do my herbs and the things that I need to do. And I'll try that fisherman's friend. Anything that says fisherman, come on, gotta work, right? But I appreciate you guys spending your week with us. I appreciate you guys and all of the prayers and everything that you guys sent out over the Hurricane Matthew. It seems to work. It seems our families, I know my family's okay because they're in the other room and everything, but it looks, we won't know property or anything until tomorrow, but it's property. We'll rebuild. That's what it's all about. But take care. If you're not doing anything with a friend or a family over the weekend, you always have me. So you can text message me, and that stays on. I'd love to hear from you guys, but that actually stays on 24/7. Now, obviously I'm not going to SMS you early in the morning, but you can send me a text message. The number is 768-574-3652, 768-574-3652. Love to hear from you over the weekend. If you have an idea for the show, or if you have an idea for a show guest or anything like that, or if you just want to, powwow, that's fine. I make time. I'm probably one of the most accessible talk show hosts that you will ever meet. That's my goal. And, we'll try to live up to that, but be well, be safe. And like I said, spend some time with someone you love, a family member, a friend. And, if you don't have anybody like that, send me a text message, man. I'll talk with you. I'll be your friend. But you're listening to the Midnight Ocean Radio Show and a podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. You can join us here every weeknight starting at 10 p.m. and usually 2 a.m. But tonight we're going to cut it short because of my throat giving loose, or on the web at www.themidnightocean.com. And one more thing too. Join us here. We should have the new Midnight Listener page up sometime over the weekend, maybe Monday. And so we'll release that. But get out there and, check it out. It's going to be pretty cool. Right now, it's just a WordPerfect or WordPerfect. Yeah. It's just a WordPress basic site. And, we're adding the bells and whistles. Well, we are not doing anything, i.e. me, I'm not doing anything. The web team is doing that. So be well, be safe, take care, and I am out of here.